A long time ago, in a world far, far away, there was a little stickman who lived in a tiny village made of twigs and leaves. The stickman always wanted to be more than just a simple stick figure. He dreamed of exploring the world beyond his village, and one day he began his journey. As he walked, he started to notice that the world was much bigger than he had imagined. He saw mountains, rivers, and stars that twinkled in the sky. But as he continued on his journey, he also started to feel very small and insignificant. One day, the stickman came across a small hill, and he decided to climb to the top. As he climbed, he felt like he was getting closer to the stars. But then suddenly, he slipped and fell down the hill. The stickman was very upset, but he brushed himself off and tried to climb the hill again. Once again, he felt like he was almost there, but then he slipped and fell again. The stickman sat down on the ground and started to cry. He felt like he would never be able to reach his dreams. But then he looked up at the sky and saw that even though he had fallen twice, he had made it further than he had ever been before. He realized that if he could just try one more time, he might just be able to reach the top of the hill and get one step closer to his dreams. So he wiped away his tears, stood up and started to climb the hill for a third time. This time he climbed slowly and carefully, and after a few minutes, he finally made it to the top of the hill. The stickman was so happy that he had finally reached the top. He could see for miles and miles in every direction. He felt like he could see all of the possibilities that life had to offer him, and from that moment on, he knew that no matter how many times he fell, he would never give up on his dreams. He would keep trying until he made it to the top. The stickman looked up and saw a giant glowing star high above him. He wanted to go to the star, so he jumped but couldn't reach it. Disappointed, he looked around for another way to get closer. That's when he saw some blocks nearby. So he started to stack them one on top of each other to make a tower. As he stacked the blocks, the stickman started to feel a little tired. He took a break halfway up and looked around. To his surprise, the blocks were labeled with words. The bottom block said, "Discipline," the second block said, "Courage," and the top block said, "Patience." The stickman thought about these words for a moment. He realized that he needed all three of these things in order to reach his dreams. Discipline to focus on his goals, courage to take risks and be brave, and patience to keep trying even when he failed. With renewed energy, the stickman continued to stack the blocks, and soon he was close enough to touch the star. Slowly, the stickman reached out and touched the star. Suddenly, golden light exploded around him, and the stickman felt like he was on top of the world. He had finally reached his dreams, and it felt amazing. The stickman stood on the star for a moment, taking in the view. He could see everything that he had been through to get there, and he felt proud of himself for never giving up. Then the stickman turned to the audience and gave them a big smile. He waved goodbye, knowing that he would never forget this journey and that it had changed him forever. Once upon a time, in a distant land, there lived a humble stickman named Manny. Manny wasn't your typical stickman. You see, while all the other stickmen in his village were content with their simple lives, Manny yearned for something more. He dreamed of going on an adventure, exploring the world beyond the horizon and discovering all of its wonders. One day, Manny decided to follow his dreams. He packed a small bag, put on his trusty shoes, and set off on an exciting journey. Along his travels, Manny met all sorts of interesting characters and faced many challenges. But he never gave up. He kept moving forward, learning and growing with each step he took. Through it all, Manny remained kind, helpful, and optimistic. He never lost sight of his dreams, and eventually he achieved everything he had set out to do. In the end, Manny returned home a hero, having accomplished amazing things and gained wisdom beyond his years. The other stickmen looked up to him as a role model, and Manny inspired them to follow their own dreams and never give up. And so the legend of Manny, the little stickman who dared to dream big, was passed down through generations, inspiring countless others to go after their dreams and make their mark on the world.